Hey YouTube, Fallwolf here. Alright, this is chapter 107 of Tokyo Ghoul Ray Review. This is my first review, so I'm going to do a really quick summary of the entire series. I'm sorry if I skip over anything. Reread through it if you want. I'm only going to go over the main shit. So you start off with the main character, Kaneki, who's a human at the time, and ghouls are around, and they're creatures that eat humans and have this special organ that creates a Kagane made out of RC cells, which is basically turns their blood into a giant organ that they can use to attack. In a way, sense. Actually, it's more bodily tissue. And well, he likes this girl named Rize. She is a ghoul, but he doesn't know. She finally talks to him and tricks him into coming to her feeding ground, and then tries to eat him. He runs away. Steel beams get dropped. She dies. Some of her kaku choko, or however the fuck you say that, gets put inside of him, and he becomes a half ghoul. And he realizes this when everything he eats tastes horrible and he's puking, and he goes through a whole thing where he eats everything in his motherfucking fridge and just pukes. Then he joins up with Onteku, which are ghouls, and Onteku is a coffee shop. And he joins up with them. He gets his mask made, which is really, really cool. If it wasn't for him, Mato wouldn't have died, and, well, Toka and Hinami would be dead, so he played a good role in keeping them alive. Going on from there, you get into the point where Jason and a clown shows up. And also Ayato. And Banju, or whatever. And they take Kaneki to Algiri Tree. And basically he's deemed unworthy. And so they throw him to Ayato and just say, do whatever the fuck you want with him. And so he gets wound up put through having to make the food for the ghouls, like ripping it up and packaging it. Yeah, Kaneki has to do that, and he didn't like doing it in the first place. And well, him and a group of people try to escape. They get cut off, and Kaneki gets tricked into going into Jason's chair. Because Jason says that he will spare everyone's lives if Kaneki comes with him. Well, that was a lie. And Kaneki got into the chair, and that's when the torture proceeded. And it happened pretty much the exact same way in the manga that it did in the anime. But after this, Kaneki did not join up with Algiri Tree like he did in the anime. He formed his own group called the Black Goat's Egg. I'm not going to tell you who all's in it. You got to read to know that. Then you go down the line, down the line, down the line. Pretty much the same. They break into the prison. Then they fight with the CGC in the 20th Ward. Kaneki dies. Oh yeah, Kaneki dies, by the way. Then Tokyo Ghoul Ray starts. This is where stuff gets interesting, because now we're introduced to a new main character, Sosuke Heisei. Okay? Or Sasuke Heisei, whatever you want, but his last name is Heisei, damn it. And going through, eventually you realize that he is Kaneki. So Kaneki isn't actually dead. Now, Sosuke Heisei is the leader of the QS squad, which are basically half ghouls that were turned into ghouls because the CGC wanted ghouls to fight ghouls. But they're controlled so they can still eat human food and not have to eat, people to survive, so it's kind of neat. and they work as investigators. He's a first-class investigator. Then he gets to associate special class eventually. We go through a phase where Sosuke Heisei goes through meeting white-haired Kaneki. And he starts wanting to know who he was and starts kind of going crazy at certain points. And well, you get to a point where he's fighting Eto, and he has a change in him, and that's when he goes from Sosuke Heisei to the Reaper, as we call him. And this is when Kaneki wanted to die in style. When Sosuke Heisei was Kaneki, in a sense. And, well, he fights Eto during this, and he's almost killed, per se. But he gets back up, and he cuts her in half. And proceeds to eat the bottom half of her body. You assume that she's dead, but in 2 chapters she pops up. She's alive in a bathtub. Then you get to the point where just a few chapters ago, they're fighting in the prison again, but Sosuke, or Kaneki, has let all the ghouls free. And he goes to save Hinami, who has been captured and put in there. And he goes to get out. Well, Aogiri and Anteku are both coming in to try and save Hinami, because Hinami is a member of Aogiri and whatnot. And, well, he then fights Arima, the one who killed him in the first place, and who turned him into Sosuke. And this fight's brutal, and it gets down to a point where Kaneki's hair goes back to being white, and both of them are standing there, and he asks, "Why aren't you trying to kill me?" to Arima, and Arima says, "Why aren't you trying to kill me?" And Kaneki says, "Because I don't want to," and he says, "I see," and slits his throat. Like, his own throat. Arima kills himself right there. And Kaneki turns into the One-Eyed King, and the Zero Squad becomes part of his little bitches that he gets to control. Well, they go on later, and he forms he forms Goat, and yada yada. And then you get up to where we are. Alright, so to start off with this chapter, it's interesting, to say the least, because we kind of got brought back in a part where we got left off out of nowhere. And, well, when we get brought back in, one of the QS's is getting his arm cut off. And he's screaming because they're in front of the head leader of the clowns. And he's never had his arm cut off before. And it doesn't really go into that grandiose of a fight with him. It kind of, they off-screen him, the QS squad, which is kind of, I think, was shitty. And then we skip to where Kaneki's group is, which is fighting the clowns right now, trying to get into the CGC. Now, they're trying to get into the CGC because the CGC is controlled by ghouls. And, well, they're fighting the clowns, which is saving the CGC members, but the CGC members are trying to kill them. It's very complicated at this point in time going through. And this special group comes out. The main office special investigator killers, or whatever. Men in Black, we'll call them. And, well, they kill off most of the white suits in Kaneki's group, but they fight back and deal some heavy damage to them and start to make it through, and they're getting ready to infiltrate the laboratory to get the medication that they need to suppress our C cells. That way they can save Mato's daughter. I forgot her name. And I didn't put it on the script. Oops. And the group waiting is Ayato, Tsukishima? No. Takizawa. Three Blades, Mez, and Kaneki is the group that is heading to the laboratory to get them. And right now it's looking like they can make it, and everything's just gotten really, really complicated in what's going on. My thoughts here, though, is that Kaneki and his group are gonna come into a wall. And it's gonna be someone that wants Kaneki dead because he killed Arima. Even though Arima killed himself, Kaneki had to take the credit. So I think at this point in time it could be a very huge conflict, especially if they run into the QSs. Or Kaneki will pop up and save the QSs. Or someone in Kaneki's group will save them, because they're actually kind of cool fucking people. And Furuta is right now trying to take over the CGC. That's all the time we got. If you liked my video, leave me a like. If you want to see more of these, subscribe, because I'm going to have a few more videos out tomorrow, probably clarifying a couple things here. If there's something you want me to make a video on to clarify something in this video, please leave me a comment down below. Thank you, and if there's anything else, comment below. Alright. Peace out.